Hare Krishna. Welcome to the GBC SPT Facebook page, where we are hosting an event celebrating the Incorporation Day of ISKCON by honoring the 7 purposes as laid out by Srila Prabhupada. And today we are going to be discussing the 3rd purpose with His Holiness Giriraj Swami. Thank you so much for joining us, Maharaj. We're very honored to have you. So I'm just gonna, many of our viewers know your biography, Maharaj, but for those who are new, I'm just gonna share a little bit about you. This morning, we were very fortunate to have hosted His Holiness Radhanath Swami, who was also discussing the 3rd purpose. So this is a wonderful opportunity to have you as well. So the 3rd purpose of ISKCON is to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus developing the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. So a little bit about Giriraj Swami. Giriraj Swami actually met Srila Prabhupada when he was a student at Brandeis University. And it is said that he says that he learned more in one brief conversation or exchange than his many years of academic education. And after his initiation, he was given the opportunity to go to India, where he helped Srila Prabhupada establish his mission there. Now, in terms of the 3rd purpose of bringing members closer and nearer to Krishna, we all were unanimous in choosing His Holiness Giriraj Swami. Of course, there are so many devotees who have imbibed this particular purpose, but Giriraj Swami was instrumental in the acquisition and development of the Bhaktivedanta Ashram in Govardhan, and also led the development of the Kirtan Ashram in Vrindavan for women, the Bhaktivedanta Hospice, and the Vrindavan Institute of Palliative Care. And through his efforts, he's become renowned for his austerities, loyalty and dedication to Srila Prabhupada's mission, his ability to raise funds and cultivate important members of society, and his care and concern for devotees around the world. So presently, Maharaj is based in California, where he is now focusing on writing, which was one of his main personal instructions that he received from Srila Prabhupada. So to all of our viewers out there, if you are watching, please be sure to share this presentation on your personal Facebook pages and follow the GBC SPT page, where you can get notifications on future events. And with that, I'm honored to ask Giriraj Swami to begin his presentation today. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you. To begin, I will sing the Mangala-charana prayers and lead a short kirtan, and then speak. Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupa Sakritatham Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabdutam Jana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sa Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Krishna Prasaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Stotra Satrasri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing bringing the members of the society closer together. And an important section of the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, especially in India, where I spent most of my time during Srila Prabhupada's presence, were the life members. The life membership program was introduced by Srila Prabhupada soon after he and the devotees arrived in India in 1970. And the program was that the life members would donate a certain amount. The first figure was 1,111 rupees. And we would give them all of Srila Prabhupada's books that existed at the time, all of Srila Prabhupada's books in the future, a lifetime subscription to Back to Godhead magazine, and the right to stay free of charge in all of ISKCON's temples and guest houses. It was a very brilliant arrangement that Srila Prabhupada made. And at one stage, Srila Prabhupada said that if we have 20,000 life members in India, our mission will be success. And at that time, 20,000 seemed unimaginable, but now we have way more than 20,000. So Tamal Krishna Goswami had a concern that the values of the books we gave the members would eventually exceed the 1,111 rupees the members were committed to paying. And Srila Prabhupada replied, the devotees will keep going back to them, and in their lifetimes they will give 5 or 10 times more than the membership subscription. We would continue to make new members, he said, and thus we would always keep ahead. And he said that he had devised the program as a way to distribute his books. If we just piled them on a prospective member's desk, he told us, the person would agree to become a member. So the reason I'm discussing the life members now is because we're discussing this third purpose of ISKCON, which is to bring the members closer together. And the life members were really a very important part of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual family. The membership program was a practical application of the fourth verse of Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita for reciprocating with the members in exchanges of love. Dadati pratigrinati guyam aketi prichati bhungte bojayate chaiva sadvidim priti lakshanam offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada applied the verse directly to life membership. Quote, "The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. The society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and dealing with the give-and-take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world. We are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the society's activities. And people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we give to them in the shape of books and magazines, dealing strictly with the matter of Krishna consciousness. So that is dadati pratigrinati, giving and taking. So the life members would give their donations, and we would give them books and magazines and other paraphernalia to facilitate their development in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite life members and friends to participate in the feasting by accepting prasad. Although most of our members come from the higher rungs of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever little prasad we have to offer them. So that is bhunte bhojayate. We would invite them to our festivals, our Sunday programs, and offer them prasad, and often they would invite us to their homes and offer us prasad, and we would accept. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service, and we try to explain this. In this way, our society is successfully spreading all over the world, and the intelligentsia of all countries is gradually appreciating our Krishna conscious activities. The life of the Krishna conscious society is nourished by 6 types of loving exchange among the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. So the first of the 6 kinds of loving exchanges is dadati, giving gifts. The greatest gift is the holy name, which at first many people were unable to accept. But we also gave them other, more tangible gifts. I would carry Mahaprasad sweets and tulsi leaves in a silver box, and I would always bring a Krishna conscious book, cassette tape, or picture. The Back to Godhead BTG subscriptions also serve to both enliven and impress our members. And Prabhupada said that the whole purpose of the magazine was to get people to chant Hare Krishna. In Bombay, he also instructed us to send a monthly newsletter to the magazine, to the members, informing them of developments in the movement, quote, so they don't think we are dead, end quote. And so we developed a regular local publication called the Hare Krishna Monthly with news announcements, advertisements, and our yearly audited accounts. So, yeah, this is how we come closer together in loving exchanges. So, yeah, so we began with this general explanation by Srila Prabhupada. And then we discussed Devotee, giving gifts. The next exchange is Pratigrinati, accepting gifts. When I engaged in Devotee, giving gifts, I tried not to be too anxious about Pratigrinati, accepting gifts in return. I was convinced that if we help people advance spiritually, Krishna would be pleased. And that if Krishna would be pleased, others would also be pleased. And our mission would be successful. Pratigrinati would follow automatically when the relationship was sufficiently developed along the other 5 principles of loving exchanges. As a rule, after giving someone a gift, I would never accept any payment or donation on the spot, even if the person offered. Only later would I ask when we needed substantial help for some major project. And by then, most people were already eager and glad to help. The next exchange is Ojayate, giving prasad. Prabhupada taught us to hold feasts on Sundays and other special days and to make a special effort to invite our friends and members. He personally organized the first Life Member Feast in Juhu and had us, his disciples, who are acting as hosts, perform all the services for the members, whom we treated as honored guests. Later, whenever Prabhupada received special guests, he would insist that they take full prasad. Sometimes the guests protested, "We cannot take prasad in front of you, Srila Prabhupada." But he always insisted, "No, I will be happy to see you take prasad." If you give a man full prasad, he once said, he will do anything for you. The next 2 exchanges are Guyam Akiti Prichiti, inquiring about and explaining confidential topics. While giving gifts and prasad, I always tried to explain the confidential science of Krishna Consciousness and give donors a solid philosophical background for further devotional service. And when the time came to engage a person in some particular service, I would present the rationale for the service on the basis of reason and philosophy and disclose the request in a straightforward manner. I would endeavor to present our philosophy intelligently, without compromise, but keeping in mind the understanding of the individual to whom I was addressing. From my seniors, I learned to detect prospective supporters' doubts, even without their expressing them, and then speak in such a way as to remove their doubts. During my initial training in Bombay, I went with Bhaktivedanta Prabhu to meet a wealthy businessman who had become a life member. But when we were in the man's office, he reneged. I had expected Madhuvisa to say, "You promised to give, you can't refuse now." But instead, he just talked with the man for about 20 minutes. And then, almost mystically to me, the man opened his desk drawer and wrote out his check. Because Madhuvisa had understood what was holding him back and spoke in such a way that all of his doubts and reservations were removed. When I first went out on my own and approached an industrialist to become a life member, the man said, "First I have to ask my brothers." When I reported this to Shamsundar Prabhu, who had given me the industrialist's name and sent me, he told me, "That's just an excuse. You have to be intelligent enough to understand the person's doubts and address them without him even bringing them up." After visiting someone many times with gifts and inviting him to Juhu for prasad, which naturally involved his or her seeing Hare Krishna land, I might feel that the time had come to engage them in some particular substantial service. Whenever I did make a request, I would keep in mind Srila Prabhupada's instructions on how ISKCON supporters could engage in Devotee. During one of our first meetings with life members in Bombay, he quoted Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22-35, "Etavaj janmasafalyam dehinam iha dehishu pranaya artha diyavacha shreya acharanam sada." It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. So this is one section of members, the life members. And another section of members, of course, is our own devotees. So with our own devotees, the same six-fold reciprocations of love apply. But with devotees, there are other more subtle considerations involved in our dealings with one another. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, Srila Prabhupada has a very beautiful purport in which he describes how devotees should relate with one another. And if we follow this, then definitely we, members of the society, will come closer together on the spiritual platform. So I will read from this purport. It's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, Text 12. Sayadanu vratapum sam pashubhidir vidiyate anya esha tatanyoham iti beda gatasati. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a pundit and does not make distinctions between enemies, friends, and himself. Intelligently, he thinks every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another. So it's a long purport, but I will come to the point that really applies to devotees. Of course, it all does, but this particular paragraph explicitly explains how devotees should relate with one another. Everyone is a servant of the Lord, as confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swarupai Krishnara Nityadas. As servants of the Lord, we are one, and there can be no questions of enmity or friendship. If one understands that every one of us is an eternal servant of the Lord, where is the question of enemy or friend? And here is Srila Prabhupada's beautiful explanation for us. Everyone should be friendly for the service of the Lord. I repeat, everyone should be friendly for the service of the Lord. Everyone should praise another's service to the Lord and not be proud of his own service. This is the way of Vaishnava thinking, Vaikuntha thinking. There may be rivalries and apparent competition between servants in performing service, but in the Vaikuntha planets, the service of another servant is appreciated, not condemned. This is Vaikuntha competition. So, Srila Prabhupada has explained the difference between transcendental competition and mundane competition or envy. In transcendental competition, one appreciates the good qualities or the good service of the other person, but still, to please Guru and Krishna, one wants to excel the other person. So that is transcendental competition, in which we acknowledge the other person's good qualities and service. Mundane competition, which is really based on envy. In mundane competition, one does not acknowledge the good qualities or the good service of the other person. Just a second. Yeah, so in transcendental competition, the person acknowledges the good qualities and service of the other. And in mundane competition or envy, one does not do so. For example, someone might say, oh, such and such devotee has such and such good qualities. And out of envy, we say, oh, I don't think that devotee has such good qualities. You may not know that the devotee that well, like I know the devotee. That devotee does not have such good qualities or does not do such good service. So that envy must be cleansed from the heart. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for devotees who are freed from envy, nirmatsaranam satam. And yes, for us to really come together as a society and be happy in Krishna consciousness, we need to cleanse our hearts of envy. And that can be done by the general process of purification, chanting and hearing, Cheto Darpano Marjanam, Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names, cleanses the dirty things from the heart. And as Srila Prabhupada says, the dirty things begin with thinking, I am this body. And all envy and mundane competition stem from false identification with the body. So we want to cleanse that, Cheto Darpano Marjanam, then we'll be able to come close to each other in a very harmonious way. And of course, when we keep Krishna in the center, which is the whole point of Krishna consciousness and the whole point of this verse and purport, naturally our relationships become harmonious. In the verse, Prahlad Maharaj uses the phrase pashubuddhi, animalistic mentality. And in the synonyms, Srila Prabhupada renders pashubuddhi to mean thinking that I am God. And although we may not, of course I did before I met Srila Prabhupada, but we may not consciously think that we're God, but our psychology is that we are, that we're the center, and everyone else should support us. His Grace Burijan Das, our dear God brother, said it's as if everyone is going around with the mentality excuse me, I would like to make an important announcement. I am the center of the universe, and everyone is meant to support my pleasure. That's the psychology, pashubuddhi. He said that generally people envision life as a movie or a drama in which they are the heroes and everyone else is the supporting cast. So you can imagine everyone is walking around thinking, I'm the hero or heroine of this movie, and all of you are the supporting cast. You're supposed to support me in my exploits. And so there's conflict. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm the hero. You're supposed to be supporting me. And you're thinking, no, I'm the hero. You're supposed to be supporting me. So naturally, there will be lots of conflicts. But when we understand that Krishna is the center, he's the hero, and we're all the supporting cast, then we can cooperate with each other, in the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. There may be rivalries and apparent competition between servants in performing service, but in the Vaikuntha planets, the service of another servant is appreciated, not condemned. This is Vaikuntha competition. There is no question of enmity between servants. Everyone should be allowed to render service to the Lord to the best of his ability, and everyone should appreciate the service of others. Such are the activities of Vaikuntha. Since everyone is a servant, everyone is on the same platform and is allowed to serve the Lord according to his ability. So this is real oneness. We are one because we are all servants of Krishna. And so there's no question of enmity. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanivishto matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart, giving dictation according to the attitude of the servant. So we are all servants of Krishna, and as devotees, we understand our identities as Krishna's eternal servants. And in that sense, we are all one. We are Krishna's servants. But we are also individuals, and we may have our own individual natures and our own individual desires, how we want to serve Krishna or how we think we can please Krishna more. And that variegatedness is pleasing to Krishna. If there is a vase full of flowers, if all the flowers are the same, even as something as beautiful as a red rose, but if the vase is composed of only red roses, it won't be as appealing or attractive as if there are different kinds of flowers, different colors. So Krishna is pleased by that variegatedness. It's like they're all flowers, but they're different kinds of flowers. And combined together, they make a very attractive offering. So in the same way, we're all servants of Krishna, but we're individual. And our service is individual. And each of our services have their own colors, their own fragrance, their own attractive qualities. Since everyone is a servant, everyone is on the same platform and is allowed to serve the Lord according to his ability. as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishto mata smritir gyanam apohanam cha. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart, giving dictation according to the attitude of the servant. However, the Lord gives different dictation to the non-devotees and devotees. The non-devotees challenge the authority of the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord dictates in such a way that the non-devotees forget the Lord's service, life after life, and are punished by the laws of nature. But when a devotee very sincerely wants to render service to the Lord dictates in a different way. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, Tesham satata yuktanam vajatam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. End quote. Everyone is actually a servant, not an enemy or friend, and everyone is working under different directions from the Lord, who directs each living entity according to his mentality. So we are all simultaneously one and different. Now, one other point about Vaikuntha thinking, which I learned from Srila Prabhupada when I first joined the Boston Temple, is that, well, first of all, he said that if one person in the temple is doing well, that will affect the whole temple in a positive way. And if one person in the temple is having difficulty, struggling, that will also affect the temple in a negative way. So Srila Prabhupada said that the mundane attitude is, oh, this devotee is in Maya. I don't want to have anything to do with that devotee. And the Vaikuntha attitude is, oh, that devotee is having difficulty. Let me help that devotee. So, that should be our mood, to help others. Not only devotees, of course, we want to help innocent people who are not envious. Prema Maitri Kripopeksha. Srimad Bhagavatam says that prema, we should give our love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitri, we should make friendship with devotees. Kripa, we should show mercy to the innocent by preaching to them. And upeksha, we should neglect the envious. Because if we approach the envious, they'll probably just become more inimical. So it's better not to approach them. Although Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that as a matter of sadachara, good behavior, we can pray for them. We don't approach them, but we can pray for them. So these are some reflections on the third purpose of ISKCON on the occasion of the anniversary of the incorporation of ISKCON. And I hope that we can, be united and friendly and close to each other in Krishna consciousness by the grace of our Founder-Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And to realize our potential as devotees, we should maintain our vows very carefully. Srila Prabhupada has written in one purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that of all the instructions of the spiritual master's instruction to chant at least 16 rounds daily is most essential. So we should be very careful to chant our at least minimum 16 rounds, and of course follow the 4 regulative principles, and that will give us the spiritual strength to be everything that we should be as devotees and servants of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So I believe we have 2 minutes left. Anuradha Devi Dasi, would you like to say anything, or would you like me to say anything in this last minute or two?
To hear more from you, if you'd like to say anything in the last minute.
Sorry?
If you'd like to say something more, Maharaj, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I take this opportunity to remember our dear departed godbrother, His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who was such an exemplary devotee, and he really, of course, his loss is immeasurable, but yeah, he was really wonderful and very inclusive. He made everyone feel welcome, and so in the service of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON, thinking of this purpose of ISKCON to bring members of the society closer together, I believe that His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj's example and instructions will be a wonderful guidance for us to help fulfill that aim of ISKCON. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for joining us today and sharing this verse, especially the Priti Lakshanam verse, about bringing devotees together and creating community based on your service and association with Srila Prabhupada. In addition to sharing this idea of variegatedness, as well as how everyone should be friendly and service to the Lord and praise another service to the Lord, this being the way of Vaishnava thinking. We really appreciate how you mentioned the example of His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami's inclusive nature and an example and exemplary behavior. So thank you so much. And to all of our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. Please go ahead and share this important sharing of the purpose of ISKCON by His Holiness Giriraj Swami. And be sure to join us tomorrow for presentation by His Holiness Devotee Swami and Her Grace Narayani Ji. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and put the 7 purposes of ISKCON and wholeheartedly thank His Holiness Giriraj Swami for joining us here today. Thank you so much for that.
Hare Krishna.